South Park's new episode, Sycophancy, swings at Trump's Marshall-style grip on Washington, D.C. dunks on ChatGPT AI shortcuts, and drags tech CEOs for over-the-top flattery, all in 22 breathless minutes. The speed is deliberate. Every scene lands like a headline you've already seen, turned up 2 notches to feel uncomfortably familiar. It feels less like a plot and more like a stress test, checking how fast our brains normalize spectacle when it's wrapped in authority and buzzwords. The timing also matters. These are the exact pressure points dominating news feeds right now, which makes the jokes hit harder than a normal season jab. The premise isn't subtle. It's a mirror with the contrast maxed out. The craft is in how 3 topics rhyme without repeating themselves, so the episode never stalls. Hey, sorry to butt in, but did you already subscribe? Why did Trey and Matt fuse DC tanks, AI buzzwords, and billionaire gift baskets into one story? What hidden thread ties them together? AP's recap singles out the image that sets the tone. Towelie gliding past the Capitol and White House while troops and tanks turn monuments into stage dressing, making the extraordinary look routine. The shot choices are calm on purpose. Long glides, wide frames. So the absurdity enters your brain as normal background. It's satire by desensitization, where the postcard aesthetic hides the panic you should feel. Little sight gags stack up too. Checkpoint signs, bored soldiers, a flag that dwarfs the people under it. You're laughing, but your shoulders are tense. The joke is how quickly the mind adapts when power sets the scenery. Tap subscribe or Towelie's gonna forget to remind you again. If a towel can spot the red flags, what are the humans choosing not to see? Because that's not all. The episode works because it echoes real headlines about a heavy federal show of force in DC, turning animation into uncomfortable deja vu. Satire lands best when exaggeration barely outpaces reality. And that's the tightrope here. The tanks aren't just props, they're punctuation in a sentence about power and theater. By stitching those visuals into the plot, the show asks whether we measure authority by policy outcomes or by how loud the boots sound on marble. The discomfort is intentional. It asks you to clock the feeling that something's off before you can name it. That feeling lingers into the next scene, so the momentum never breaks. If those tank shots felt a little too real, hit subscribe now. When the line between news and cartoon blurs, which one is teaching us how to react? Listen to this. Forbes and The Guardian both flagged the episode's ChatGPT riffs and Randy's AI pivot. And the joke isn't AI bad. It's unearned certainty dangerous. Prompts let people outsource judgment while keeping the illusion of being decisive. The show's loop is ruthless. Prompt, output, consequence, repeat, until the shortcut becomes the problem. That's why the laughs sting. We recognize the impulse to automate thinking and call it strategy. The writing also mocks the way buzzwords can launder bad ideas so they sound investor-ready. In that world, confidence replaces competence, and the tool takes the blame. If ChatGPT has ever helped a little too much, press subscribe. If praise is the input, what kind of outputs are we training into our real lives? But that's not all. Coverage shows Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg queuing up with lavish gifts, and the satire keeps it barely exaggerated, so it reads like B-roll you've already seen. The rhythm is the bit. Compliment, present, promise, repeat, until access looks like policy and flattery looks like courage. It's grotesque because it's familiar. The joke doesn't need props when the real world supplies them. Even the name drops function like product placements for power, which is both funny and queasy. The show's point is simple. If everyone's selling approval, nobody's buying accountability. And that's where the laughter has an aftertaste. If that gift parade made you cringe, subscribe while they're still lining up. When the room fills with gifts, who's left to say no when it actually matters, because it gets crazier? The Trump-Satan callback isn't just shock, it's pattern building. Each return makes the room feel more like a shrine, and the people inside it feel smaller. The decor gets louder, gold, banners, adoring courtiers, until the office looks like a theme park that sells reverence by the hour. AP's beats and The Guardian's notes suggest the staging is the punchline, a holy set for unholy choices. Repetition is the engine, The more times we revisit the tableau, the more obvious the hollowness becomes. It's a visual chant, and chants rewire how you feel before you think. That's why the gag can repeat and still land bigger. Subscribe or the Oval Office shrine demands another sacrifice of your attention. If the office becomes a shrine, what exactly is being worshipped? Policy, power, or the mirror? But that wasn't the whole story. Randy's Tegridy Farms finally meets the battering ram, and it plays like a meta edit. A years-long storyline cut off by the very state power this season keeps mocking. The raid is brisk, bureaucratic, and weirdly polite. That contrast is the laugh. It also signals a reset. When the door goes down, the brand identity goes with it. The show doesn't sermonize. It just stops a plot mid-sentence so you feel the snap. That's smarter than a speech, because the silence does the work. You sit in it and the point lands. Smash subscribe before Randy's battering ram finds your Tegridy. After the raid, what's left of Tegridy when markets in the state rewrite your script? But that's not all. Sycophancy moves like jabs, image, reversal, escalation, exit, never long enough to dull the edge. The shared hinge is flattery. Strongmen demand it, AI reproduces it, and CEOs industrialize it, so the jokes rhyme even when the scenes don't. That's structural glue. It keeps 3 lanes from feeling like 3 different episodes. The writers also vary the joke types. Sight gags, line gags, premise gags, so your brain can't settle. Speed hides the seams, which is why the episode feels tight even while it sprawls. And because each beat lands a different way, fatigue never sets in. If you can hear the flattery echo in every scene, hit subscribe. When praise becomes policy, comedy is the only way to hear the volume. It gets worse. Roundups highlight viewers calling this the darkest close of the season so far, and the dread isn't from blood, it's from the door the story refuses to close. Ambiguity is the sting. The cartoon ends, but the conditions don't. That's how a 22-minute comedy hijacks a news cycle without raising its voice. The trick is leaving one light on in a locked room, so your mind keeps walking back to check it. Fans argue over whether the final image warns or simply reflects, which is exactly the kind of argument the show wants. The debate is part of the punchline. Has that ending got under your skin? Click subscribe while it's still crawling. What exactly did you think the screen was warning you about as it faded? But that's not all. South Park won't draw the line for you. It just points to where it keeps sliding and asks if you noticed. By packing DC muscle, AI shortcuts, and billionaire flattery into one frame, Sycophancy tests whether we can still feel the difference between authority and theater without being told. The bet is that recognition comes first, a gut check before a thesis. If you felt that jolt, the episode did its job. The rest is up to you. Decide what you'll accept as background and what you'll refuse to normalize. That decision is the only real ending the show can offer. You feel the room full of gifts? Subscribe while you decide where to draw the line. Where would you put the line now that the applause is automated and the room is full of gifts?